Hi, I'm Sully. Today I'm going to be talking about sargassum in the Florida Keys and how I detect it with high-resolution satellite imagery and deep learning technology. If you don't know about sargassum, it's a type of floating macroalgae that has been blooming in excess since 2011. As it comes near shore, the plant begins to decompose and it causes water to turn this like beautiful murky brown color. It creates eutrophic and hypoxic conditions, which lead to mortality of marine fauna as well as seagrasses and corals. It starts releasing toxic gases, giving the beach that like beautiful rotten egg smell that we love. Generally, all of this drives the tourists away and causes governments to allocate over $1 million annually for their sargassum cleanup funds. So there is a huge need to know when and where these sargassum patches are going to be landing. How we do this is by remote sensing, satellite remote sensing specifically. So sargassum has a unique spectral and spatial shape. Spatially, the sargassum forms long slicks, right? My Photoshop sargassum is a circle, but if you imagine it being a little bit longer, that's what we're looking for, those long, skinny sargassum mats that form into weed lines. And then spectrally, the sargassum has, whoa, you can see me shaking, this elevated signature that's consistent with the plant's brownish color, and then it has this, I'm dying, it's called the red edge reflectance that's common in vegetation. So from the red edge reflectance, the floating algae and alternative floating algae indexes were created to detect floating vegetation by the red edge reflectance based off, I'm like embarrassed to do it, a linear baseline between the red and near infrared bands. My study region is the Florida Keys. The Florida Keys, which includes the Florida Keys National Marine Sanctuary, which is home to coral, seagrass, mangrove, a bunch of animal species that are important, cool, want to be protected. It is also a huge marine tourism hub, which accounts for over $2.3 billion in annual sales. The coral reef and seagrass species, which exist in the National Marine Sanctuary, have been in decline over the past 40 years. They do not need the additional threat that decomposing sargassum will bring to them. So there is that huge need to know when and where these slicks are going to be landing to best prepare for them. But considering that this red region is so near shore and optically complex, there's need for high resolution satellite imagery to be able to see them. I use Sentinel-2 multispectral instrument, which has a 5-day revisit frequency, 13 spectral bands, and 10 to 60 meter pixel resolution. Of the 13 spectral bands, I use 5, the 5 that I need to create the floating algae index and create false red, green, blue images. So FRGB images, we know about red, green, blue images. FRGB, the green band is replaced by an infrared band, which allows features to stand out against the water. In this case, we see these sargassum slicks in green. FRGB images are also good because we can see clouds, whereas in the AFAI images, the clouds are masked. Okay, so looking at the Florida Keys in one day from 2018 summer, which was a notably large bloom year, with my MSI instrument, MSI satellite, and the floating algae index, we can clearly see sargassum slicks offshore, as well as slicks near shore. The black in that corner is a cloud, and black over here is like the Keys islands, as well as the bridge. So from satellites, we can get the reflectance spectra, in my case, from my 5 bands. So looking at a sargassum pixel and a nearby water pixel, these are the spectras that we get. Once you subtract the water from the sargassum, you get the pure sargassum spectra, which corresponds with what we expect to see. So it has that high reflectance consistent with the plant's color, and then the red edge reflectance. The issue is that basically all vegetation has that high red edge reflectance that the floating algae index is detecting. So in my case, in my study region, I'm concerned with mangroves in Cuba, as well as Florida Bay, microcystis blooms, which happen in Lake Okeechobee, Synechococcus blooms occurring in Florida Bay. Then there could also be a high AFAI signal from cloud shadows, from satellite overpass stripes, from boats, from noise. It goes on. So how do I deal with this? How do I say that, yes, what we're seeing is actually sargassum and it's not all of these other things? I use a deep learning model, specifically the Res-UNet model, which takes in image spatial as well as spectral information. In this case, here is my ground truth image, which I did from manual delineation as well as thresholding from an AFAI image. So I select everything that truly is sargassum and hope that the model learns. And I do this for different seasons, different sun conditions. Here's what it looks like under clouds, etc. Try to give it the best information and the best chance of a good output. So in goes my 5 bands, the floating algae index, and my ground truth delineated images. And out comes my extraction results, in this case overlaid in red on top of a floating algae index image. So we can see sargassum slicks being pretty well delineated, and that Synechococcus bloom and those mangroves not being detected, which is good. We love to see it. Compared with the FRGB image, we also see that cloud features are being avoided and that the major slicks are being detected. So I put every daily image into the model, and out I get my daily extraction results. So here's all of the sargassum slicks. From that, I convert it to sargassum percent cover and grid it to 4 kilometers to facilitate feature visualization. And then from a bunch of days, I can create a monthly composite. So here's my monthly composite from July 2018 of sargassum cover for the Florida Keys. That's all I have.